Hello everybody, Suchomimus here, and today we are going to do our first review. So let's go ahead and get into it. Today we will be reviewing the Safari Limited Suchomimus. I believe that this one is from 2014. Alright, before we go ahead and actually look at the figure, let me go ahead and tell you a couple quick facts about Suchomimus. I almost said Spinosaurus. Well, speaking of Spinosaurus, this is closely related to Spinosaurus, as it is a Spinosaurid. Suchomimus is from Niger, and it is found in the Upper Erles Formation. It lived in coastal river deltas, and it's from the early Cretaceous. This guy had a small central crest, which you can see right there, and a long snout for catching fish. It also had very long arms and huge claws that helped it in catching fish. However, they were not as proportionally large as baryonyx. Yes. Suchomimus also had larger neural spines than its cousin baryonyx. However, they were not as large as the more famous Spinosaurus. Again, unlike Spinosaurus, it did not have nostrils positioned very high on the snout. However, they were proportionally high. Alright, so now that I have told you a couple quick facts about Suchomimus and probably shown some pictures, remember you can always send fan art to be featured in a review to my email, which will be in the description of this video, or you can send it over Discord. On there I am just Suchomimus, and also you can go to my website, which is also going to be in the description and is on the About section of my YouTube channel. There's a little contact me portion of that. So, okay, let's go ahead and look into this figure. I think that we can go over just a couple main things. First of all, let's go over the pose. Yes, that sounds like a good thing to do first. Looking at the pose, you can see that this Suchomimus is just kind of close to the ground, like it's leaning over a river, and its head is turned as if it's looking at maybe a competitor for its territory. I like how the tail is raised in the air like a counterbalance. And overall, this is a pretty good pose for a figure. However, I do have to say one thing. The foot on mine is a little bit warped, so if you're thinking about getting this figure from safarilimited.com, keep that in mind. It doesn't really bother me because the way that it's positioned on the shelf, you can't really see that foot. But that is something to keep in mind. A lot of my figures from Safari Limited actually are warped, so that's just something that comes along with it. But it's really not that bad. And also, it is a tripod figure, at least mine is, and it leans on its front limb. However, I don't know if that's due to the warp or if it's just due to the center of gravity of the figure. Alright, now that we've gone over kind of the main pose, let's go ahead and go over the sculpted detail of this figure. If we look here at the head sculpt, if my camera will focus, come on. Alright, maybe we can look at it from back here. You can really see that the detail is moderate. I mean, it's really nothing like the newer Safari Limited figures. However, it is certainly not horrible. It's just kind of decent. There we go, it's starting to focus. You can see that there's a nice little nostril right there. You can see the nice notch right there, and the jaws. The jaws themselves are sculpted pretty well, and so is the eye, kind of sculpted out there. And as you can see down the body, there's some really nice rectangular scales that look individually sculpted all the way down to the tip of the tail, which you can see there. And on the back, there's these osteoderm-like scutes, very crocodilian. And here on the feet, you can see some almost avian scales. And I believe that they are also present on the hands, on the fingers, which is very nice. You can see that there's some nice sculpted musculature along the legs. You can see where the pelvis would be protruding. There's maybe a little bit of shrink wrapping on the skull right here that you can see a little line. I don't know if that really counts as shrink wrapping or if that's just kind of a ridge that I draw all of mine with a ridge that kind of separates their eyes, showing that it has more of a binocular vision. But to my knowledge, I'm sorry, Spinosaurus didn't have too good of binocular vision. However, we'll discuss accuracy in a little bit. You can see there's a nice wattle sculpted right there, and it even has some spines on it, much like iguanas, which I think that's a very nice touch that they've kind of used modern reptilians to aid in sculpting. I really like seeing aspects of modern animals in prehistoric animal figures. It's a really nice surprise. You can see, just like a lot of Safari Limited's figures, there is a nice cloaca sculpted right in there. And as far as we know, dinosaurs would have had cloacas, much like modern reptiles and birds. You can see there's the shoulder blade right there. And yeah, there's just a couple of protruding bones, which are present in modern animals and wouldn't really be categorized as shrink wrapping. And the sculpted detail on this figure is just overall very, very nice. It's a very nice figure to look at. It's very aesthetically pleasing. But that really plays in more with the next category, which is the paint job. First of all, the color scheme on this figure is amazing. I really love the dark back with the orange, yellowish orangish sides, which fade into the almost deep yellow underside. It's very, very naturalistic, and it just seems like an animal that would be in a wetland environment. As you can see, this kind of bluish green would help it camouflage in with the water plants or the trees. The only thing I wish they did a little bit more was a little bit more, like, brighter colors along the crest right there, as that would have been a display structure. And maybe even some on the, almost the hump or the sail, which may have also been a display structure. That's the only thing I really criticize on the paint job. The paint application is very nice. It looks like the majority of it's dry brush, which looks nice. It really allows for some nice blending of the yellow and the bluish green. I don't really know what color the original plastic is, so I can't really judge about that. As you can see, there is some on the gum right there, the cheek. There is some bleeding, and it's not ultra realistic right there, but there's no bleeding from the teeth, which is really nice. Maybe a little bit right there, but that's not that bad. And just minute amounts of bleeding. Even the ear is painted, and the nostril with no bleeding, as well as the eye. See if I can show you guys that. My lighting may not actually let you guys see that, but it's very, very nice, the paint application, and it looks like a living animal. However, with the claws, that is a different story. You can see mine has some green on it, unfortunately, and also on the back claws, so that's something to keep in mind if you're thinking about getting this figure. Yeah, so that's just about the paint application and the color scheme. Now let's get into some scientific accuracy. Well, first of all, it just seems very, very nice. It's very, there's not a lot of speculation in it, as there's not very much speculation in most Safari Limited figures, which is a downside, but if you're going for exactly what we know about the animal, this is basically what Suchomimus would have looked like in the flesh, as far as we know. There's really no speculation other than these small amounts of osteoderms, which may have been present, and the avian scales. Again, there's no bright colorations in the crest, which would maybe be a little more accurate considering the dinosaurs were closer to birds than they were to modern reptiles. But then again, this could be a female. We don't know. This could be a female, and in nature, females are usually duller than the males. As for, like, the skull accuracy, the crest, I think, should be maybe a little bit larger, and that's just about it, honestly. Like, the crest, I think, should be a little bit larger, but this could be an immature individual, and it also could be a female, which, again, would result in a smaller crest. That's basically just about all I have to say about the Suchomimus. It's a very solid figure. I would recommend it. I don't know if it's like my favorite figure, but I got it just because it has I have some nostalgia with it ever since I saw it in a catalog when I was a kid. But I'm glad to have it. It wasn't extremely expensive, but you know, if you have the money and if you don't have this figure, I would recommend you guys going and picking it up. You can get it from safarilimited.com or amazon.com/safari. And, you know, there's a couple coupon codes out there like Spino Dude and Bionic. I think those are 2 coupon codes. So you guys can always go there. And yeah, if you liked this video, leave a like. And also leave a comment if you want more reviews. Tell me how you think, or what you think of this Suchomimus. Tell me really what you think of my review style. Tell me if you want me to do more. And, you know, just tell me what other figures you'd like me to review. And again, you can send me fan art at my email address, over Discord, and via my computer. So, again, thank you for watching, and Colsaurus Dickinson and I, signing out.